Welcome, everyone, to another exciting episode of the Shop and Tread Talk podcast. As usual, we've got Frank with us. Thank you for joining us from wherever you are. I just want to remind you, you can find us on Facebook if you search on there for the Shop and Tread Talk podcast. Please like, follow, tell your friends, tell your mother, tell your dad, sister, brother,
Even
relative,
your cousins.
your cousins, even the cousins you don't like. Just tell them anyways.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, we just wanted to jump on a podcast. We're actually doing this right now at 6:10 in the morning. Frank's been so busy rolling around the money, he hasn't had time to record.
I don't think
no,
that's true.
no, we both just been super busy, so we wanted to make sure we took the time early this morning to get an episode in. Um, I just wanted to maybe talk about a few things that we haven't talked about in a while. Frank has started some renovations in his shop now, and
Oh
I
my
think it's pretty
gosh.
cool. He's actually got part of his office in his garage right now, Frank.
Yeah, that's been a challenge. We had to decide what we were going to do. We needed to do replace the floor in our office, and and then we decided while we were at it, we might as well make a few other changes that we wanted to with the front counter and stuff like that.
Yeah,
So then we looked at it and be like, well, how are we going to do this? Like, it's the office, like it's the main part of it. So we thought, well, we could go and rent a portable office trailer or something like that.
yeah. That's what I thought you were
And
going to do, actually.
well, I mean, we talked about it and we looked at it and we looked at the cost of what it would take to rent one of those. And then we looked at it and be like, okay, well, like January, February is our slow season, right? Okay, like we're going to be slow anyway. We
Yep.
thought, well, we got 3 bays. We're usually fairly slow. Um, so we decided that we would sacrifice 1 bay and turn it into a temporary office. Well, man, if that hasn't backfired on us just because we've been swamped, like the 2 bays have just been full, full, full. Like,
Well, stop
and
doing such good work, Frank. Like, do people want to
I
come
don't
back to
know.
you or something? I don't know why.
It's all this honesty stuff. Like, I'm kind of getting sick of it. I think I'm going to start ripping people off. No,
I mean,
but
if only you would just be the typical mechanic and
yeah,
not do things right. But unfortunately or fortunately,
yeah,
you're doing
that's
things
just
right, and people want to come in and see you.
seems that way. So yeah, it's been a bit of a challenge, and I hired a ton of it out um, because I was like, um, I can't do it all by myself, and that was kind of the plan because I love doing that kind of work as well, and the plan was to do a lot of that myself because if we were going to be slow anyway, well, why not?
Definitely
But
save.
now it's kind of dragging along, but we're in the painting stage now, and then trim, so we're just about ready to move back in. So I think in another um, probably week or so, we're going to be at least moving the majority of it back in and then just doing the final touches. So in another by 2 weeks, then we'll be done, and then we'll be back in regular business.
I think you'll appreciate it a lot more considering like you and Marguerite have done quite a bit in there. I mean, I know you sent me a picture. She's up there painting, and
Yep.
like it's not
No,
easy
it's
working a full day and then you're you know remodeling at the same time.
yeah, and it's going to be real good because we changed how the layout is of our customer service area. Like, it was always garbage. I hated the way that it was set up. Like, we had this little area that I don't know. You could we had 4 chairs in there, and then it was full.
Yep.
And now we're going to have a equivalent of 6 chairs plus at least 2 stools in front of the counter. So not that we want customers sitting there waiting, but just
Yeah, yeah.
when there is a waiter and somebody else walks in, it's not like your butt's right in their face. They're actually going to have room to breathe, and just the whole setup is going to be much more aesthetically pleasing.
Yep. You
Um,
have two butts in the face now.
yeah, and the whole workflow is going to set up a lot better because we're going to have two office stations So we're going to have this is Margarita is going to be the main interaction with the customer, and David's going to be the more service advisor and parts. Um, and just the way that it's going to flow all in there, it's going to work much better, and I think customers are going to appreciate it more.
Well, I think
Um,
Frank, you're looking at things a little differently. I can definitely tell even since the first time we talked, going back a while now, but I can definitely tell you're looking at the shop differently. You're looking at the way customer interactions different when they walk in, and like for me, I can definitely see a difference. Like you're looking at how you can service the customer the
yeah,
best and just make the experience, when they walk into the 3D Auto, they're like, "Oh man, okay, like this is definitely some place that I want to bring my car. I want to bring my car, have it serviced here." And not just because Frank, gets all prettied up for me every single day, but this place, they really appreciate me coming in and bringing my service, my business, and my vehicle to this particular establishment. So I can
oh
definitely
my
tell that
gosh,
you've taken some steps to ensure that this is not just something you're doing so you and Margarita can hang out and watch TV in the front.
no,
This is
definitely
something
not.
you guys have really poured blood, sweat, and maybe two or three tears into it, and that's awesome. And my hat goes off to you because a lot of people would just literally write a check and have someone else do it, but you guys have put in a ton of work, man. From the
Yeah,
pictures that
definitely. No, and I thank you. I appreciate that because I'm always about like I wanna support other trades, and we have a lot of trades that come through and do business with us, and we gave a lot of the work to those trades, if not even with this project, but some in the past. And but I'm a huge fan of making it go around. Like, hey, you know what? Concrete. I don't know how to do concrete, so we had to do some concrete work at the shop at times, and so we hire those kind of contractors that
Mhm.
uh, bring their vehicles to us, and I appreciate that, and I know they appreciate that too. But yeah, as far as man,
Oh,
I've
what
got
was
all
that?
kinds of noise going. I just got noise everywhere today. Shut up. It's too early in the morning. Might have to edit that little clip out.
Oh, that's okay. We don't edit much out because you know what? At the end of the day, things like this happen, and it actually makes the podcast even more interesting.
Yeah, more real. Yeah, what you're saying about seeing things in a little different area light, I guess, but definitely over listening to some of the training podcasts that we've done, and even having Eric on our podcast a while back, and his big thing is all about the customer experience,
Yep.
and that's a big deal. Like when customers feel like they're important and they're welcome and all that kind of stuff, it makes a big difference. It really does.
Yeah. Eric from
And
Detroit.
that's right, yeah. And so I've really been thinking about that and what can we do to make that so much better. And of course, part of it is that we switched over with Techmetric,
Woo!
and yeah, well, don't tell my wife that she doesn't woo yet. So,
Oh,
but
just tell Margarita, just keep messaging me and I'll fix everything.
well, I,
It's
I
the
wish you
greatest
could. And
software ever made by human or maybe partly by AI, but it's the
well, see,
best.
and here's the thing, and if our listeners are those that are using Techmetric, if you could, send me a message or would love to talk to you on someone who doesn't send all of their information to a bookkeeper, if you know what I mean. So we do in-house bookkeeping. My wife is a registered bookkeeper, but Techmetric and bookkeeping, they don't like to talk to each other. And the way that they do talk to each other, it makes a big kerfuffled mess on the bookkeeping side of it.
Yeah.
And so she's been trying to figure out a very uh, streamlined way to do this. And she's like, no one ever talks, like, she has yet to talk to a bookkeeper who uh, does the bookkeeping for Techmetric side. And if there's a better way to do it than what we're doing, we'd be great. But right now, what we're doing is basically we got Techmetric doing over here,
Yep.
and we're not letting it port over to QuickBooks. We're porting it over manually into QuickBooks. So basically, we're double entering everything so that it,
More work.
yeah, and it's just the way that the reports work for the end of the year for QuickBooks. Basically, I guess, so that our accountant, and I don't follow this too much, but it has to do with what the accountant sees at the end of the year
Yep.
and stuff like that. Anyways, so if somebody does have
Frank,
information on that, that'd be
I would
great.
post in that ASOG group, that auto shop owners group on Facebook. If you post on
Okay.
there, I guarantee you someone has had the same issue,
Yeah,
and
quite
I
likely.
guarantee you someone's figured out or has a solution to that because, like, I don't know how many people in the industry started off with QuickBooks, even using it as a point of sale like I did.
Yeah.
And like you had QuickBooks, which I mean, there's still a lot of people that still use it for accounting and everything. So there has to be someone out there that's used it and got Techmetric and QuickBooks to talk, and have a good
I mean,
marriage there.
yeah, and I mean they do talk, but they don't talk well. Like only it what basically Techmetric does is it makes a group of this information and a group of this information and spits it over to here.
Yeah.
While whereas QuickBooks has this group, this group, this group, this group, this group to break it down better. And that's what she's saying is the problem is that it's only grouping here and here and not doing breaking it down into every individual category.
What
I
this
guess
sounds like is Techmetric and QuickBooks need a marriage counselor.
what my wife says is if I was she says I'm going to hire somebody to make a program that's going to integrate Techmetric and QuickBooks and Pro Demand all into one and make one program out of everything so that all of them talk together perfectly. And
So
I'm
she
like,
can do that because Techmetric allows integrations with so many different, like with Motor
and
Visuals, and
yeah,
there's so
so
many different ones on there. So that's definitely something she could do. And
yeah,
if you go
it
on
would
their
just take
website,
somebody that
yeah,
a programmer to be able to do that and to understand what you need off of each one. And I'm sure it's possible, but like I understand why Techmetric did what they did, and this is we're focusing on this section of it, right?
yep,
We're not an accounting software, we're shop management software. So I understand that, right? But why don't those two get together, have lunch, and be
yep.
like, hey, you know what? If we do this and this, instead of having this back office thing in between, because now I don't
Someone,
know again, but frankly, from what my wife is saying, that it's just kerfuffled mess, and she just like I don't want like I think we had 1 week of where back office actually ported to QuickBooks, and it took her 2 weeks to fix everything
yep.
and rewrite everything in QuickBooks the way that she needed it so that her books would look proper. So
Other thing
I
is,
don't know.
you guys are essentially learning Techmetric as you guys are busy
Yeah.
too, right?
Well, that was the other reason why
And
we
again,
started
that's
TechMetric in
a good
January.
thing.
We
It's
wanted
a
to be
good thing
slow to learn it.
because if you're slow in learning it, then you get frustrated. You're like, well, I'm spending X amount of dollars and we're slow, and now I'm learning it. Okay, fine, I've learned it, but then there's no business.
Yeah.
So now you guys are busy as can be, trying to learn as you go along, and then you've got QuickBooks kerfuffle going on. So it can definitely be frustrating to do that. And then again, when do you spend the time to actually try and fix it while you're at work? So then now you're probably thinking about it after work, right? So
Yeah. Yeah.
it's I
And
can definitely appreciate that's got to be really tough, man.
yeah. I think I like the way TechMetric is set up. Like I'm getting used to I had to get used to using a phone and having the phone in my hand or near me all the time because I was always like the phone was sitting over by the toolbox. I didn't carry it with me. Well, now it's like you go out to get a car, but instead of having the paper, and then I just put the mileage in or whatever that way. Still, a few things I would change with it to make it a little bit easier. We're learning now, like, okay, if I use a let's say I use a certain bulb, where do I write that note so that it goes to the service manager? Because I think the whole idea of tech metric is to um, it seems to cut off the communication between the tech and the service manager. Like it used to
Right.
be always I would have the paper invoice or work order, and I would go up and I would write everything down and I would hand it to him and I would send this and this and this and this.
Mhm.
But now it's all supposed to be sent digitally, right? And it seems like their idea is that to minimize that communication, which in my opinion is a really bad thing because it should you should always want to communicate text to service managers. And I understand in some huge shops they hate each other, but in our shop we love each other, because we're nice people.
But
But
then you're the so I'll rebuttal on that is I think the communication's actually completely different. Is we communicate 100 times more now.
really, yeah.
So there's two
They,
things. What we do is we have a group chat for one with everyone that works at the shop. Everyone that works at the shop. We have one WhatsApp group. So that's helped a lot. So if there's something that we need to take a picture of something, maybe we need a license plate number and everyone's busy. We just need to get a license plate number so we can get the vehicle in. One of the guys will snap a picture quickly and they'll put in their, 2018 Hyundai Sonata,
yeah.
bam, snap the picture. So that's sent over. So we automatically know when that vehicle, the customer's up there, we've already got the license plate. We can just enter that in and that's done. So I've kind of got the guys trained that if I don't have that license plate number quickly, I can't open a work order for you, and you guys are going to be standing there doing nothing. And then I'm going to call back there and be like, "Why are you guys standing around doing nothing when there's a car?"
Mhm.
So that process, like they know that I'm going to get upset if I don't have that license plate number and I don't have it attached to a customer, and the customer's waiting because every minute that customer waits, that's another minute that we don't have the car on the hoist. That's another minute we haven't done inspection, and that's another minute that's going to come off. When we're trying to sell ethically on the DVI, whatever it needs, right? So the longer it takes for them to get that inspection, and Mr. Customer, you need X, 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 and X. The longer it takes, the chance of them approving it's going to go down for sure. So we actually have the WhatsApp group. We also, another thing I don't know if you know is on the inspection itself, or sorry, on TechMetric, you can go into notes. Have you seen that?
Yep.
So repair order notes. So we type
Yeah.
in there as well. And when we save it, obviously in the back, the text can see all that too.
Yeah. So that's the one thing that we've been trying to figure out exactly where to write those notes. And I kind of found that the easiest way for me to write it and for the service writer to see it is when it initially comes in for either where the customer concern is. You can, if you write
Yeah,
notes in there, pops up
exactly.
real easy.
Yep.
Or if you do when you do the DVI and you write notes in the DVI, but unless you're doing like a 50-point inspection on the DVI,
Yeah.
I mean, it's not looking for like I noticed on the 18-point inspection, it wasn't looking for wiper blades. And I'm
Yeah.
like, why in the heck is it wiper blades not on here? Like that's such an important thing. So we've been modifying our 18-point inspection, but
But
I'm
you
like,
also want to make sure on the DVI you don't write too much for each thing because that'll
yeah,
also scare the customer off. Like even
yeah,
they need front
exactly.
brakes and you got a whole paragraph because I've seen some people do
Oh
it. They'll
yeah,
put a whole paragraph and then that customer's like, "Oh my god, my car is a disaster. You know what?
yeah,
Forget it. I'm just going to sell it."
yeah. And I mean more like if I'm going to use like let's say I use a wiper blade and and well if it comes in and you're just like wow this wiper blade's falling off, you put a wiper blade on, if it isn't added in as a part later on, right, or if you use a bulb, like you use a 194 bulb, where do you put in that uses a 194 bulb, that kind of thing. So that's what we've been trying to figure out. And it's been either like I say either in the customer notes or if you write a technician note, but I'm always leery of like if I put it in a note, I know
Mhm.
it pops up in the background of the screen on the computer, but I want it to pop up in the front. I want so that when you open up their RO again, it's right there in your face that I used the torch or I used a can of brake clean or something like that, so that you can see it right there.
But
That would
so
be
if you
a
use
really handy
the
section.
yeah, if you use the can of brake clean, you want to be able to let your service writer know that you use that, right?
And that's just it. Yeah.
So if you, for example, you have a computer in the garage,
Yeah.
okay, and you have a computer that David's using service writer,
Hmm.
okay. Download WhatsApp for business or WhatsApp on your computers, both of them. Okay, you have your WhatsApp hooked up in the garage. David has WhatsApp on the computer in the office, right?
Yeah.
So you're in the middle of working on the Lamborghini and you need to use that brake clean.
Hmm.
You use the brake clean. You use this. You've got WhatsApp open on the computer. You have your chat open. Hey, David, brake clean, enter, bam.
Yeah.
So
See,
you
I
can
get what you're
quickly
saying
send
there.
that, but then it's right on his screen. And
Yeah.
there's no gap of communication because you can set the process that before you finish making that repair order for this vehicle, the chat's open. If you got dual screens and that chat's always open on the left screen or the right screen, there's no reason why he wouldn't see unless you didn't write or tell him, then
Yeah.
that's on you.
Okay.
But if you have that chat open, then he's like, okay, great. Frank used a thing of brake clean. Let me make sure I add that on. That's one way.
Yeah, I get that, and what my point in that is, okay. Now the thing is, then you've got so many different platforms that you're using, right? It'd be
Yes.
really nice if there was a section that said, like in TechMetric, right here, that says notes or extra parts used or anything else that when I write it in there, it flags the front and it says, hey, you need to pay attention to this, and they read it off, and it's like, oh, there's a can of brake clean.
Or Frank, you could just add the can of brake clean with your login.
Yeah, I know I can.
Yeah, right.
I'm
Like
just
if
thinking of
you,
my technicians. I'm thinking
yeah, yeah, yeah.
of something like that, right? And that part to me, there's something missing there. There's that part missing because, right, I would on a work order, I would just write it down, circle it, or this is, or have a section there that says this is the extra parts I use. Boom, here it is, right in his face, right? That needs to be a note section that's right in your face, like even after customer concern, technician concern,
Yep.
notes, extra parts used, extra something or other that wasn't on there. Boom, 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 write it down, right? So then it was never missed. And that's, I think, something that I'm sure a lot of shops are finding that, ah, crap, I forgot to bill for that 1 liter of coolant. Oh man, I forgot to bill for that half a jug of
Yeah,
brake
yeah.
fluid,
I've done it too.
right?
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. So there's a lot of uh, free stuff that's given away because there's no place there to write it down.
What
That's
what
one of
about
my biggest issues,
what
right?
about shop supplies? Like, what do you charge for shop supplies?
We kind of have a few different ones set up depending on what we're doing. If we're doing a brake job, we have a certain amount. If we do an exhaust repair or manifolds or something like that, it's a certain amount. Oil change, of course, has its own little uh, fees, but we kind of have certain ones set up. So if a certain job is done, it's automatically attached. But then that doesn't cover if you do something extra, right? Like all of a sudden you're doing a job and all of a sudden you needed 5 bolts or six screws or 10 body clips or something like that. You pull
Yeah,
these
yeah.
stupid covers off to do an oil change and every body clip breaks. Now you need 10 body clips. Here's a little note section, 10 body clips for undercover. Boom. You know what I'm saying? Like those kind of stuff, there isn't a good place to put that unless someone could show me better, but there isn't a good place to put that and it gets missed a lot. And
You
that's one
could
of the
add
things I'm really
maybe add
working.
something like that as a canned job, which would
Yeah,
be
but
a quick two click process too, right?
yeah, you could add a canned job, but then in the can, what I guess then you write notes in the canned job type of deal. But then what do you add that to every single invoice?
I mean, we have a standard amount which that we charge shop supplies on. We charge shop supplies on basically every repair order,
Yeah.
other than oil changes, which I need to change that because there
Well,
are certain you know miscellaneous things that we have to put on
yeah.
there.
Well, for oil changes, you do like a environmental fee because you have to pay to get rid of your oil, and you
Yeah,
have to
yeah. So
get
we're
rid of
gonna
your
be
filters,
adding
right? So.
we're gonna be adding that and doing
I
some
mean,
changes on that front.
you don't pay to get rid of your filters, but you pay an environmental fee when you buy the filters, and you pay an environmental fee when you buy the oil. So essentially, you are paying to get rid of it because that goes back.
Yeah,
Speaking on that, I heard yesterday that the used tire recycling is having a problem. Is that something that you've heard of?
it's so knock on wood. I have had zero issues with my tires getting picked up. I mean, it could be because I always put 6 to 7 dozen Tim Horton donuts on top of the tires, when I know they're coming in. No, but I've honestly had no issues with tire pickup. I'm also the guy that's really good about not calling them when I've got like overflowing,
Yeah, yeah,
190 tires. I'm like, oh, by the way, do you mind coming to pick this up like right now? So
yeah,
I kind
yeah.
of text
So
the guy and I'm like, hey, I'm at 40 tires. I'm at 50 tires, but I never push them because I know that I want to make sure they're happy. And
okay,
if I start bugging them all the time that, hey man, I'm getting overloaded. What are you doing? Then I'm going to lose them.
yeah, I heard this from a shop in the next town over, and he was saying that they're having that the whole recycling program is having an issue now. Our whole recycling program in Ontario is having an issue. I don't know if you got the notice, but in Malahide Township, they no longer pick up paper recycling or recycling in general from businesses.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So
No,
if
no.
you're a commercial property outside of town in our township, you don't pick it. Apparently, this is an Ontario thing. This is the way that Ontario now makes the supplier responsible for the recycling of the
Yep.
product, blah, 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 all that garbage. So now I get a ton of cardboard. What am I going to do with it? Anyway, so it's probably going to end up getting burnt or in a garbage somewhere. But
Yeah, yeah.
anyways,
What are you supposed to do with it?
what am I supposed to do with it? Sometimes I take it home in a big box and they take it from my house, no problem. But I can't put my huge bins out at at the house, so I'm going to end up
Yeah.
with a ton of cardboard. And if anybody wants cardboard, for cat scratcher or something like that, let me know. I got lots. You can
Yeah.
have
Seriously.
it. But back to the tire thing, I heard that they're having an issue. I don't know, maybe it's an issue with recyclers because like the ones that pick up tires at our shop, I think we've gone through like three different or maybe even four different recyclers in the last 6 years. I mean, that's a lot of change. Every time you call them, they're like, "Oh, it's time to pick up," and it's like, "Oh, we don't service that area anymore." We had that issue now with plastic jugs. We had this one company that we were dealing with for like 4 years, and then it switched to another company. No big deal. Now we were full of plastic jugs again. We call and they're like, "Oh, we don't service that area anymore. You got to call this other company."
Service
And
changes, man.
this other company, it's just like, I don't know if they're too busy or whatever, but we've been calling them for like 3 weeks and no reply, no nothing. So again, what am I going to do with these plastic jugs? They're overflowing. They got to get out of my way.
Yeah.
They're probably going to end up in a landfill. As much as I hate it, and I'm a huge advocate for recycling, I hate
Yeah.
stuff going in the landfill. What am I going to do? I got nothing I can do with this thing. But
Yeah.
if
It's
anyone makes
unfortunate.
biodiesel, I've got plastic jugs. Come and see me. Like,
It's
um,
unfortunate that we're trying to do the right thing, and like for us on Fridays our pickup for recycling, and our we have everything on right on Bridgeport, and we got like 3 or 4 big recycling bins, and they're completely jam packed of brake part boxes and
yeah,
rotor
exactly.
boxes and
Yeah. Now
M and
imagine
M's
if
and
all of a
Skittles.
sudden they said, "Hey, we're not picking that up from your shop anymore." What would you do?
I would
Burn,
put them in a truck
burn bin?
and no, I drop them off to you because you love collecting it all. You just said yourself,
Well,
so
actually, and that's an option for me. I can drop them off. I can load up all the
yeah.
cardboard into my truck.
No,
I
why
can
should you
drive.
do that? We're paying for,
Exactly.
the service.
Exactly. So in the letter it said that you could load it up, you could take it, and I think to St. Thomas to recyclers, which is only like a 14-minute drive. It's not that far. But now, what's their working hours? The same as mine.
Yeah.
So how the heck am I ever going to leave my shop, drive to St. Thomas to drop off the recycling that I'm already paying for with my taxes
But that's a
to
1 hour
drop off the
process for
recycling?
you to do that, right,
It
Frank?
is every time. Yeah,
And
it
think
is
about it.
because I'd have to stop at Starbucks for my wife. And there's a whole story there. Let me tell you that one day.
It's not Starbucks. It's $5. Get it right.
No, it's $7.
Yeah, seven.
It's seven
Well,
seven
I,
seventy
I
three
made
every
my
time.
own here still this morning.
I make my own too, but I drank it at night. So
No, but going back to what you were saying is that process of you going to take the recycling and loading up your truck and dropping it off. And it's at least an hour, but
it is.
you
Yeah.
don't. I know you don't even have that hour.
No.
You haven't even had that hour to record.
What? Yeah. Well, and a good example of that is when I first started the shop, I was like, all my scrap that I had, my scrap rotors and all that stuff. And I thought, you know what, I'm just gonna save it up. I had a little trailer. I'm gonna save it up,
Just
and
like
then
you're doing with all them Chevy Cruises outside.
hey, they're making me money. Um, I'm selling parts left and right off of those things.
I know.
But then I was like, hey, I'm gonna take the scrap in myself. Well, the first time I like 3 months, and I had this trailer full of scrap, and I hook it to my truck, and I drag it
Yep.
to St. Thomas, and it was $70. And I'm like, I just
A waste
spent
of time.
3 months or 4 months worth of saving up scrap. Took, well, it was like almost 2 hours by the time I got there and back for $70. And I'm like, no.
You
So
made
now I
35 bucks
just,
an hour minus gas.
yeah, well, I can make a lot more than that if I do a brake job, right?
So your gross profit per hour. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. So now I just call up. There's a local guy that picks up scrap. That's what he does. That's his whole business, right? He
Yeah.
doesn't pay you nothing for it. I mean, I get for rotors. I got guys that pay me rotors and converters and stuff like that, right? But for the regular scrap, he'll just come and pick it up, and off it goes. I have a bin out back. I fill it up. I call him up. I say, or he actually just comes on a schedule, and it makes him money. It saves me a ton of time, and I don't have to worry about it. And
What
at
about
least then it's
aluminum? You
properly
don't give them the
recycled.
aluminum, do you?
I don't have much, but no, I have three separate bins. I have a bin for rotors for cast, and I have a bin for aluminum, and I have a bin for regular scrap. So he gets the regular scrap, the aluminum and the rotors and the batteries, and the catalytic converters. There's other guys that come around and they buy that kind of stuff, right? So
The
and what
aluminum's big money, Frank.
for what
That,
little I have, like even my radiators and stuff like that, usually I get like between $3 and $8 for an aluminum rad.
Frank, I took I think I had a video somewhere. I took a truckload, like my pickup truckload of aluminum rims,
Yeah.
and I'm I have to check the receipt. I think I got like 800-900 bucks.
Yeah, so if you do a lot of rims is one thing, right? I don't do a lot of aluminum rims, right? But when I've had them in the past, they vary between $15 and $20 per rim, right? So if you
Yeah,
had a
yeah,
set of four, you only get $100.
yeah.
So yeah, it can be good money if you.
That's something like if I were you, I would load those suckers into a trailer and hang
Well,
on
I,
to those for a rainy day.
well, I get paid for those, right? Like if I have aluminum rims, I throw them in an aluminum bin, and when Buddy comes to buy it, right, he buys
Yeah, yeah,
and pays me for those. Maybe not as much as if I loaded them up and took them in myself.
yeah.
But
That's
again,
worth your
that,
time, in my opinion. If you've
again,
got if you got the rims.
for you maybe because you would do a lot more rims than I would.
Yeah, yeah.
I maybe would have, if I had a lot, it'd be 10 rims a year.
Oh yeah, okay, then it's
So
not
where
worth
am
it.
I going to store 10 rims a year to take them in? I don't have the real estate for that. So I have a
That
bin. I
makes sense.
throw them in there. It just goes every time, right? So yeah, I like that. I like having stuff organized for recycling. Like behind my shops, and customers don't see this. I have those three bins for my metal recycling. Then I have the two bins, one for the plastic recycling, one for oil filters, and then I
Yep.
have two cubes, 1,000 liter cubes, one for used oil and one for used coolant. And when any of those are all full, right, I just call the proper supplier or vendor, I guess, and
Yep.
say, hey, come get my used oil, come get my used coolant, whatever, right? So it's all disposed of properly, which to me that's something like years and years ago. Like when I started in the business, we had there was a had a huge used oil furnace tank. That's what we were using at that shop.
Okay.
Was like 5,000 liters, and that's what he put his used oil in and just dumped
Yep.
it in, and it would get pumped out. And I'm like,
Yep.
man, this is so nice. And then they started with these other programs for plastic jugs and
Oh yeah.
the paper and stuff like that. And I got right on board with that. I'm like a huge advocate for that. So every shop that I've always worked at, it's always been like, we got to recycle. We got to
It's gotta be
recycle.
disposed of properly, right?
Yeah, absolutely. But
Other thing is like, you also don't want to dispose of it improperly because then it gets into the soil, gets into the land, and that's not good for anybody.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
No, that's I can tell like the different processes you have. I'm sure you refined them over the years and everything, but
Hey,
it
if you
just
are,
makes your life easier.
you make it easier, make it better, and just keep on going. Like it just, yeah, you can't just be content with, oh, this is good enough. Like somebody once told me, if you're here, you have the opportunity to be here. Once you're
There
here,
you
you
go.
can always, and if you're
Your
always
hand
going to
has to go
strive,
higher, Frank. Your hand has to go higher.
why
They're
you got
way
to
up.
be able to see what I'm doing. But if
It,
you can always strive for something better, whether it's in recycling or in customer service or in um, the product that you offer,
yep.
get the better product. Get it for the customer. Don't buy the cheap parts and be like, oh, it's good enough for the customer. No, that's not good enough. You have to go to the next step. You go to the next step, right? Always find the best that you can do and the best that you can be in your business, in your personal life, in your interaction with people.
That
Um,
that reminds me. Don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure I was listening to Rick White. Shout out to Rick White if you're listening. Really good trainer. I'm pretty sure it was him, but I think he was telling a story back in the day where he was working somewhere and the guy across the street put up a sign that said, you know, $280 brake job.
mhm.
And I guess the guy that Rick was working for, again, just assuming, I'm pretty sure it was Rick, but the guy who was working for said, man, he put up a sign that says 280 brakes and rotors installed. So he's like, oh, you know what? Don't worry, I'll take care of this. So he gets a sign and he goes and writes on it, we fix $280 brake jobs. And he put it up front.
That'd be awesome.
That was one of the smartest thing I've ever heard. And it's true. I mean, you see these guys, and there's a guy locally that I've seen $180 brake job.
Oh wow.
So what that is, I mean, you can get a 2018 Corolla and you can find 18 or $22 rotors and you can get some $23 pads and you're still going to make 130, 140 bucks, but what kind of a brake job is you're not getting any clips with those pads. Those rotors are going to be,
Yeah, cheap white
far
box
below
stuff.
even economy rotors. The
Yeah,
guy's
that
going to
you.
come back after 2, 3 months and hear noise and complain about it. Like, what is the point?
Yeah, no, and that's one thing that we're big on. Like brakes, they can't make any noise. They can't, like, if we have any issue with the parts that we supply, we're right at the supplier and we're like, hey, and they take care of us. Like we had this one other supplier. He's like, you really should try our brakes. We've got this line. It's a really good line. So I said to Margarita, so what, like, he really wants us to try them, and I'm okay trying something for the
Yep.
first time. And her car does need new brakes right now. And I said, she's like, nope, you are not putting those on. I'm only putting CarQuest brakes on my car. So I'm like, okay, fine, I'll put them on my truck. I had to put new rear brakes on my truck. Well, that was
You
a
mean you get
mistake.
time to work on your own vehicle, Frank?
I don't. I pay my guy to do it because I don't have time.
Don't tell your customers. They're gonna be like, "Oh, Frank
Oh
must be
man,
doing really well now if he has time to work on his own vehicle."
no, I don't. I mean, I could if I wanted to work till midnight, but so anyway, we put rear brakes, pads, and rotors from this other supplier on, and it was fine for a while. I mean, they work fine, but every time I backed out of the driveway, it's like
Yep.
squeal.
Yep.
So I called him up, and he said, "Oh man, you're the first guy ever
Oh
to say that
yeah.
those pads squeal. Okay, I'll send you another set." Okay, send me another set. It was good for a couple of weeks. Also, I call him up. He's like, well, I've never heard anyone say that before. So what are you gonna do? He said, oh, there's nothing I can do. I'm like, okay. I took the pads off. I threw them in the garbage. I ordered CarQuest Gold pads, and it's been 3 weeks now. No squeal. And I'm like, it's just, it's the evidence is there. So I'm like, we just stick with the supplier that we know has good parts. They treat us really, really good, and we don't have customers come back and saying, "Hey, my brakes squeal. Hey, my
Good on you,
rotor
Frank.
is my rim is really dusty and stuff like that." We just found this one product that we really love, and our supplier stands behind it, and that's what we sell to our customer because I use myself as a guinea pig for the other stuff. And I'm like, I will not use it. I don't care.
Well,
You
you did
can
the right
promise
thing.
me the world. And
Yep.
yeah, so I don't ever do that kind of stuff and try it on a customer's vehicle. Be like, you
No
know what,
way.
we're trying this new supplier. Let me know what you think, but I'm still going to charge you full price for it.
Yeah. Well,
Right.
imagine if you did put it on a customer's car and they had to come back. That guy's not coming back to you ever again. He's going to
The
say this
only,
guy's putting on crap.
if I didn't have my own vehicle to do it on and I wanted to try this on a customer's car, they would get a free brake job. It'd be 100%. Look, I want to try this new product. Are
Yep.
you willing to be my guinea pig? If so, no cost to you. I
Yep.
just want to try this because I want to know if I can sell this product. And if it turns out to be garbage like this was, then at least we know. Then when the brake job is done properly, I mean, would you bill them then, or would you give it to them free then for their pain and suffering? I don't know. I
We've been
haven't,
having a lot of issues with brakes lately. I know you usually use everything from CarQuest, right?
dude.
Mostly.
You gotta get switched over. Get away from APC.
Don't let's not say any names of any suppliers, but uh,
No,
my issue I've been having is the backing plate. Sometimes there's not enough glue on them or whatever the hell it is,
oh, let
and
me tell
then
you about
and then
that.
you start
Yeah.
hearing the clickety clackety, and then you get
100%.
pissed off
And
customers, and then I end up bringing the car in, and I look for the greatest and mightiest pad I can find. I don't care how much it is, and I throw it on.
no,
And
from
yes, it'll take care of the customer, but what did I lose?
exactly. And from that supplier that you're using, and they have what, probably like 30 different brands of pads that
And
you
I
can
only
buy, right?
use from the certain supplier. I only use the premium ones on there,
Yeah. I
and
You know what? Do
it
yourself a favor. Just try the pads that I use. I that and that is one of the things that I love about them. If maybe today, I just did a brake job yesterday. If I do a brake job today, I'll send you a picture of the backing plate that's on
do
there,
it.
and it's a phenomenal technology that they've had. Um,
I
they
want
used to
that
have
backing plate on there with freaking gorilla glue, man.
no
Because
no. I've never had a single backing plate come loose on this pads that I use now, and just the way that these like some of the very premium backing plates, they have like almost like a felt backing plate, like a
yeah,
pad felt on
yeah,
the
yeah.
side of it. This has got like a hybrid technology between steel and felt or something like it. I don't know. It's really good. I just have no issues. I mean, there's some defective parts in there, but over the past 6 years that we've been using this product, um, I guess maybe 5 years that we've been only using this product, I think I could probably count on one hand how many times I've actually had a defective pad. And
Yeah.
it's been something like there's a hard spot in the pad or something like that. The one time we had, and it was on my brother's truck, where the pad had a hard spot in it and it wore a groove in the rotor. So we
Yep.
call them up and they're like, sure, no problem. Send us new pads, new rotors. Done. Just like
You had to
that.
send them a original work order and then a $0 work order
Um,
for the work that you did for the customer and all that, or
forget exactly how their process is, but I think you do.
yeah.
Yeah, I think you have to for warranty's sake. I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, we've just gotten to the point where if I'm doing a brake job and my mechanic sees the a certain supplier's pads, he looks at me, he's like, putting these on. I'm like, yeah, I this
Mhm.
is premium stuff. And like we shouldn't have to second guess we're putting these
Yep.
pads on. And then sometimes what will happen is I'll say, you know what, yeah, you're right. I'll not use those, and then I'll tell the customer, look, I'm going to put these other pads on, which are more money, and I'll just eat the difference. because I 100% know that I'm putting this particular pad on, it's done.
Yeah,
So I'm trying
we
to put on a very good pad at a very
yeah.
good price, but
Well,
but then
you
it
know,
just ends up biting me, 3-4 months later.
all right. So I'll get pushy like you did with Techmetric. I'm going to get pushy and be like, look, you need to switch to this product. It's there's no question. Like we never have a situation where it's like, well, we could sell you this pad or this pad or this pad. We have one pad that we know works. We know it works, and it works on all the light duty stuff, passenger vehicles. It also works on the heavy duty trucks. So like they have, it's their gold line, but then they have a
Mhm.
platinum line, but it's kind of garbage. If there's something not right about it, so we just all those, even those heavy duty trucks, we dropped them down to the not a single complaint of a customer at all. I just did a truck yesterday, a 3/4 ton Chevy, pads front and rear, and the customer will be very happy with the brakes. And he tows a trailer, does that's a concrete guy, and he tows a trailer with it all the time, and he will have no issues with it because it's been proven over and over again that this product works. And so I'm very confident when I sell this product, customer, do you need pads? This is the pad. End of story, right? We don't have different tiers of pads because we know that the reason we don't sell these is for this reason. We don't sell these for
Yeah,
this
yeah.
reason. This works every time we sell you this. This is what it is. And we've had some customers be like, well, could you do a different pad? We had one customer, he insisted he wanted dealer parts.
Ugh.
Hey, whatever. If you insist you must have OE parts. But then he's like, oh, I got quoted aftermarket parts and dealer parts, but this was cheaper aftermarket and this was cheaper from the dealer. So now he wanted a concoction of all of it, and it was like,
Yeah, no.
no, I'm sorry, we're just not going to do that anymore.
I can
Like,
understand when people want to use dealer parts, and I'll go out and say it. There's nothing wrong with putting on dealer parts.
oh, I
I
like
I,
OE
I
parts; they're great.
personally, when it comes to brakes and rotors, depending on the vehicle, I
Yeah,
probably would look aftermarket. But if you're looking for a mass airflow sensor or something like that, the
yeah,
first call is going to be to the dealer because it's different. You're
yeah,
not going to get the
one hundred
same
percent.
results as throwing on aftermarket mass airflow, especially if it's a Nissan. And if Jeff from the Jada Mechanic listens to this, he's probably going to be nodding his head up and down. Yep.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. No, when you get certain parts like that, you can't have aftermarket. I remember years ago, and Jeff would remember this because he worked at the Dodge dealer and
Yep.
back in the day of the old caravans. But if you were going to change an EGR valve on the old Chrysler 3.3 or something like that,
Yep.
and they were famous for going bad, like every other one that came in needed an EGR valve. You did not dare put an aftermarket EGR valve on. Like it would actually cause significant problems beyond what the original concern was putting an aftermarket EGR valve on. So every time one of those came in, you just called up the local dealer, say, "Hey, Larry, I need an EGR valve." And he would look up, and I think there was 2 or 3 different part numbers that you could get depending on what year it was in. You put it
Yep.
on, problem solved.
Well, that all goes with experience, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. But that was a good one. That was like there was no diagnosing needed on that one anymore. You knew it had this code, and it was 400 and something. I think I remember these years ago, and you had this code. Testing over, done. You knew this EGR was bad because had internal failures. But anyways, that was a good
You,
one. OE parts on that one, and sometimes it is OE parts only,
you,
and but
you know
other
what's an
times the aftermarket has an upgrade to the OE parts, right? So
it's an interesting one. This is going back maybe 2 or 3 years. We used to get a lot of Hyundai Sonatas coming in,
yeah,
and those vehicles, it's quite a few different Hyundais. They have issues with their rear view camera. Sometimes you'll bring it in, you put the car in reverse, and then bam, there's a big black screen there. There's nothing.
yeah, exactly.
But the camera, if you call Hyundai for that camera is $975.
Hmm.
I've been ordering them I hate to say it, on Amazon for 110.
Yeah.
And yes, it's not the same quality and same this, but I don't know anyone that's going to spend $1,000 for a camera and then pay me, X amount of dollars to install it, right?
Well, and sometimes I would, because say like my F-150, their rear cameras would sometimes go bad, and on not on my truck, but on a customer's truck, and he wanted an aftermarket because he's the same thing. He's like, I don't want the OE, and it was the it was so terrible that I took it out, and he's like, I can't even see anything, like that wasn't clear enough, right? But in that case, like if mine never goes bad, I
Yep.
would I would put an OE one in it. Um, if and the wiring harness on those things, same thing, right? And actually, OE makes a wiring harness for that because they break because the tailgate opens and closes.
Oh, for sure.
But yeah, you know what? It's all about the customer, right? Like some customers are just like, hey, I'd rather just live without the camera, or hey, you know what? Budget is what a budget is. I can't do it. Other customers are like, I got to be able to see, right?
We've done
I
so
got to see
many
what's
of
behind
the
me, right?
cheapies
So
that we know the quality it's going to be, and it's good. It's not like it's blurry or anything. It's actually pretty decent for the price.
yeah,
So, like if it wasn't, I'd tell them, hey, you know what, this is going to work, but that pylon behind you
yeah.
may look like a banana, but you'll
No,
see
and
some.
there's definitely aftermarket parts that are definitely acceptable, and like I say, sometimes even better than the OE parts. So um, yeah, so you just gotta learn what works and what doesn't work, and then the stuff that doesn't work, you just weed it out and never do it again.
Well, you don't know
Um,
what you don't know. So my
exactly, yeah.
my
Unless
plan,
we have these kind of situations where we can talk about it and we can
yeah,
help each other out
exactly.
and be like, hey, we know that this product works, or I know that this product doesn't work. And then, hey, you learn from my experience. So, and we help each other out that way because that's what we
Well,
are as a
today,
community, right?
Frank, I promise today I will be calling CarQuest and I will be getting set up. I actually have an account with them
Yeah,
from our previous location when we were on King Street. So I'm gonna call the guy, talk to the rep, and get set up and try it out because yeah, like I don't need that headache about.
I would.
Get,
You know what? Let me get you a name for the corporate manager for this area.
yeah,
I met him on the weekend or last week,
yep,
but I forget his name, and I could get his contact. And if you would contact him and you would drop my name,
yep,
I think he would come and see it pretty quick. So
yeah. Just text me that later on.
I will
But
do that.
Frank, so much for our quick half an hour podcast
Yes,
here.
yeah, you
It's
got her.
7 in the morning now, but as always, Frank, thanks for joining the podcast this morning.
Yeah, man, it was a
And
pleasure. It was great.
this is great. Hopefully, we will get together again soon and in person. I know we've been so busy, we haven't even had a chance to hang out in person yet, but let's
Nope,
make that happen too.
it's got to happen soon. Yep, you got her.
Thanks everyone for joining us again.
Thank you.
Please reach out to us on social media. We're both on Facebook. We're both on TikTok. If you go on Facebook, just look up the Shop and Tread Talk podcast and drop us a comment, subscribe, like. We really appreciate it. And until next time, thank you.
Have a good one.